Nigeria is among nations of the world that has adopted constitutional democracy. The country's democracy draws its powers from a written constitution with a presidential system founded upon distinctive separation of powers between the executive, legislative, and judicial arms of government. Since the Second Republic, Nigeria has been grappling with inability to organize free, fair, and credible elections in which the people can exercise their power to determine who leads them. These elections are often characterized by outcomes that do not reflect the choice of the people, and aggrieved parties have looked up to the judiciary as an institution of last hope to seek redress. It does appear the judiciary had always resolved presidential election disputes in a way that stunted democracy. Records show that all cases are decided in favor of the government in power. Many cases are dismissed on technical and procedural rules without consideration of the merits. Misuse of the substantial effect rule to uphold defective elections. Recently, the Nigerian Judiciary has come under scathing criticism for the way it handles election petitions. The brazen removal of former Chief Justice of Nigeria, Walter Onoge, and the swift appointment of Justice Tanko Muhammad as the acting CJN cast doubt on the commitment to the rule of law in Nigeria and, by extension, the integrity of the judiciary. It is a notorious fact that the Supreme Court has the final say on presidential election disputes. That is why the timing of the CJN's replacement is suspect. The president's move can be interpreted as a calculated attempt to gain some electoral advantage when election petition between him and the main opposition party end up in the Supreme Court. There are genuine concerns of calculated court packing, and this remains a threat to the independence of judges. Nigerians are worried that the federal government is exploiting its powers to appoint cronies, or at least sympathetic individuals, into judicial offices against the stipulated procedure as enshrined in the rules guiding the process. Persistent oppression and persecution of judges and judicial officers will appear as a means to securing predetermined judicial outcome. However, not minding the shortcomings of the judiciary, Nigerians are hopeful that the judiciary will once again rise to the occasion as a stabilizing factor and insist on doing justice. It will be catastrophic to find judges who swore an oath to defend the Constitution going against the oath.
The judiciary under our watch will strongly uphold the tenets of the Constitution and the supreme law of the land. The rule of law, which is the bastion of every democracy across the world, will be strictly observed.
Will the CJN commit to his words and do the noble by standing firm and defend the integrity of the third estate of the realm? Below is a catalogue of the 7-man justices of the Supreme Court on election petitions since 1979. The presidential election of August 11, 1979, between Chief Obafemi Awolowo, petitioner, and Alhaji Shehu Shagari and 2 others as respondents. Fatai Williams, CJN, Ayo Irikefe, JSC, Mohammed Bello, JSC, Chike Idigbe, JSC, Andrews Otutu Obaseki, JSC, Kayode Esho, JSC, Mohammed Lawal Uwais, JSC. These 7 justices, impaneled on their order of seniority, decided the case. 6 decided in favor of Alhaji Shehu Shagari. Justice Kayode Esho was the only dissenting judge in favor of Chief Obafemi Awolowo. He based his decision on the impracticability of fractionalizing a state for the purpose of arriving at a just figure. The case was decided September 26, 1979. The presidential election of August 6, 1983, between Alhaji Waziri Ibrahim, petitioner, and Alhaji Shehu Shagari and 2 others as respondents. Showemimo, JSC, Ayo Irikefe, JSC, Mohammed Bello, JSC, Andrews Otutu Obaseki, JSC, Kayode Esho, JSC, Mohammed Lawal Uwais, JSC, Augustine Nnamani, JSC. The presidential election of February 27, 1999, between Chief Chuba Egolim, petitioner, and Chief Olusegun Obasanjo and 59 others as respondents. Mohammed Lawal Uwais, JSC, Saliu Modibo Alpha Begore, JSC, Michael Ogundare, JSC, Emmanuel Ogwebu, JSC, Aloysius Kasinalu, JSC, Oke Achike, JSC, Akintola Ejeumi, JSC. The presidential election of April 19, 2003 between Muhammadu Buhari, Chuba Okadigbo, petitioners, and Olusegun Obasanjo and 267 others as respondents. Muhammad Lawal Uwais, CJN, Idris Legbo Kutigi, JSC, Anthony Ikechukwu, JSC, Aloysius Kasinalu, JSC, Umoru Kalibo, JSC, Samson Uwaifo, JSC, Dennis Edozie, JSC. The presidential election of April 21, 2007 between Muhammadu Buhari, petitioner, and Umaru Musa Yar'Adua and 4 others as respondents. Idris Legbo Kutigi, CJN, Aloysius Kasinalu, JSC, Nikki Toby, JSC, Dahiru Mustafa, JSC, George Adeshola Oguntade, JSC, Aloma Mariam Mukhtar, JSC, Walter Nkanu Onoge, JSC. The point at issue in the petition by Buhari was substantial non-compliance with the Electoral Act as evidence from disenfranchisement of eligible voters who reported timelessly at the polling unit but could not cast their votes. The then CJN, Idris Legbo Kutigi, Aloysius Kasinalu, Nikki Toby and Dahiru Mustafa, JSC, dismissed the Buhari appeal and upheld the election of Yar'Adua. Nikki Toby, JSC, who read the lead judgment, held that if there is any non-compliance, it did not substantially affect the result of the election, even when they agreed that all was not well with the conduct of the election. 3 justices dissented. They held that the failure of INEC to use serialized ballot papers in booklet form was clearly non-compliance and therefore allowed the appeal. That narrow gap of the 4-3 was too close for comfort. The dissenting judges in favor of Buhari were Justices Walter Onoge, the immediate past Chief Justice of Nigeria, George Oguntade, and Aloma Mariam Mukhtar. The presidential election of April 16, 2011 between Muhammadu Buhari, petitioner, and Goodluck Jonathan and others as respondents, Dahiru Mustafa, CJN, Mahmoud Muhammad, JSC, Walter Nkanu Onoge, JSC, Afolabi Fabi, JSC, Oyelola Adeleke, JSC, Bode Rhodes, Vivo, Sylvester Nguta. In the same tradition, the 7 justices who decided the appeal were unanimous that the appellant failed to prove the irregularities he alleged in the election. Buhari had contended that majority of the election figures from the states were unrealistic. The Supreme Court refused to be persuaded and upheld the election of Goodluck Jonathan as president. What is consistent from this chronology is that the justices that have heard presidential election appeals since the beginning of the Second Republic have in almost all cases been empaneled according to seniority. Nigerians do not expect a departure from this tradition except for sinister motives. The CJN should not depart from this tradition for whatever reason.